Hi, I'm Tyson with Adventure Rig, and Callie and I are currently down here in Baja, Mexico, kiteboarding and riding mountain bikes. Now, as you can see behind me, we have this cardone cactus, and it seems like everything out here in the desert is trying to kill us. Just take, for example, this plant right here. This has what looks to be about an inch long thorn on it, and the whole plant is covered with those. So not only is that bad for us, but it's also bad for our mountain bikes. Now, luckily, we have these covered head to toe with ride wrap protection films. So what is this protection film that I'm talking about? Well, it's kind of difficult to see. It's a little bit easier where the bike is dirty, but it's an actual film that we've applied to the frame as well as the forks on these bikes that helps give them a little bit of added protection against things like these plants, scratches, if we were to fall in the dirt or gravel, any type of light abrasion like that, this film is going to withstand that kind of stuff. What's also cool about this stuff is that this is Ride Wrap's proprietary film. So this is something that only they are using. It comes in at about 9 mils thickness, and the coolest thing about it is that if you do have a little bit of abrasion on it or scuffing or something like that, you can actually heat this film up with something like a hair dryer or a heat gun, and it has a little bit of a self-healing property to it, or that's what they call it. Basically though, this will actually reform itself. It'll get the scratches and swirls out of it, and it looks brand new. Now, if you have a big gouge in it, you can lighten the gouge up, make it not quite as noticeable, but if it's a big one, there's still gonna be a little remnants of it there. Luckily, only Callie has tested this out, truly. She's taken a couple spills on her bike, and it's done its job. It still looks great. Nothing crazy hard though. And I will say, I mean, if you were to take this bike and throw it against a boulder, like if you fell onto a big pile of rocks, this is gonna add a little bit of protection, but it's not indestructible. It's not a miracle type of material where it's just gonna be 100% guaranteed to never break, scratch, that type of thing. So don't expect that. But let's say that you had a 5-inch scratch coming through this film on the top right here. And maybe in the last ½ inch, it goes through the film and nicks your frame a little bit. Well, how I look at that is if this film wasn't here, that 5-inch scratch would have gone down the entire frame of the bike, and then that last ½ inch would have been a very large gouge in the frame. But with the Ride Wrap, it just is hitting that protection film, and then the last ½ inch is maybe nicking the frame a little bit. So it helps immensely. And for Callie and I, you know, where we lack ability, hopefully this Ride Wrap makes up for it. They do offer 3 different kits. One is the tailored. This is 95% protection on the frame, and that's what Callie and I did with our bikes. They also offer covered, which is about 60% coverage, and then an essential kit, which is only about 30% coverage. The 95% coverage, that tailored kit, that took a long time to install. I'm not gonna go too in-depth about the install because there are tons and tons of videos on their website of the install process, but it took about 10 hours to do Callie's bike, and hers is a gloss frame with a gloss finish, and that's what the protection film is, it's gloss, where mine took about 7 hours, and it is a matte frame finish, and the protection film is also matte. Now you can mix and match these if you wanted to do like your matte frame with a gloss finish. They have all kinds of photos and videos on their website that you can check out, kind of comparing all the differences. So definitely be sure to check that out. But the 95% coverage, that tailored, took me an extremely long time. Now Callie will say that I am a little bit OCD, so it could have taken me possibly a little bit longer than the average person. Nonetheless, it's gonna take a long time. I would probably recommend maybe taking a crappy weekend if it's gonna be raining or something like that, or maybe in the evenings you work on it for an hour or two. That's how I would go about it. I personally sat down and started doing this one, and I think I worked on it for 6 or 7 hours, and then Callie took over and finished it up. That wasn't really the best way to go about it. I kind of got pretty burnt out, but if I was only doing it in the evenings or for a small amount of time, it would have been a much smoother process, I think, and I probably wouldn't have gotten quite as frustrated. Not only is the Ride Wrap going to protect your bike while you're out here on the trails, but if you're putting it on a bike rack or in the back of a pickup or something like that, shuttling it, these are going to add that protection to the frames for that as well. So it's not just in case you crash. They also make a couple extra accessories besides just the fork and frame protection. If you're doing a lot of shuttling, they have shuttle armor. That's a piece that goes on your down tube to help give that a little bit of extra protection. Also, you can see on Callie's bike, we have this extra chainstay armor right here. This is pretty thick rubber material that just adheres to itself. You just wrap the chainstay with it, and that is a ton of protection. There's not gonna be any chain slap that is gouging the frame or anything like that. It's awesome. Definitely recommend it if you're gonna be doing a lot of downhill, bumpy type of terrain where you're getting a lot of chain slap occurring. Another added benefit to this frame protection is that it makes the bike very easy to clean. You can see that right now we do need to clean these pretty badly. We've done a lot of riding in Sedona, Arizona, and then quite a bit down here in Baja. And what's great is that when we go to clean these, any type of mud or debris, it's going to come right off of this gloss material, which is a big added benefit. These are made specifically for each brand and bicycle model. So these are Yeti SB130s, and this is a medium, this is a large. So these were two separate kits made specifically for the large and the medium SB130. They offer a ton of different models, and not only mountain bikes, but other bicycles as well. So if you're interested in protecting something besides a mountain bike, get on their website and you can search through everything that they offer. Also, I have never been on someone's website that offers as many questions and answers as they do. They literally have a day's worth of reading that you could go through for questions and answers. So if you guys have additional questions, one, you can leave them in the comments section below, or you can go to their website and check them out as well, because it's probably been answered there possibly multiple times. One last thing to note about Ride Wrap's film is that they do offer a 10-year warranty with it against yellowing and cracking. In today's world where mountain bikes are costing $6,000 to $12,000, this gives Callie and I a ton of peace of mind knowing that as rocks are getting kicked up into the down tube, that it's not really that big of a deal because it's not causing any damage. Before we had these on, I was cringing at every little pebble that came up, but gone are those days. Also, it's a little bit nice to know that if the bike does happen to fall or we crash and it's a light crash, that there's not going to be any damage to the frame. I like my stuff continuing to look as good as it possibly can. Again, these kits are made by Ride Wrap. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below and we'll get back to you. Also, if you're wondering where we are or what we're up to, check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Adventure Rig. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up as well as subscribe. We would greatly appreciate it. Thanks again for watching. I'm Tyson.